What if a blue blur, faster than light, forged by chaos and destiny, tore through the stars of the grim darkness where there is only war? Dizzy, what if Sonic the Hedgehog found himself not on Green Hill, but on the battlefields of the 41st Millennium, where even speed cannot outrun fear? That's the question no one dared to ask until now. Welcome to a universe where chaos gods reign, space marines wage eternal war, and the concept of gotta go fast is about to become the most dangerous doctrine the Imperium has ever faced. Before you rush ahead, here's a challenge for you. Stick around till the very end of this story, because those who do will uncover a hidden reward. The secret prophecy of the warp speed messiah, a revelation so strange it could shake both Mobius and the Imperium forever. Hi now, imagine this. A tear in reality, the warp itself, splits open above a forgotten world. From within, something streaks out, leaving a trail of cobalt light across the void. It isn't a ship. It isn't a demon. It's him, Sonic the Hedgehog, disoriented, breathless, and somehow still smiling. Whoa, that was not the Chaos Emerald I was aiming for, he mutters, brushing dust off his quills as massive shadows loom over him. Hulking figures in ceramite armor, their pauldrons emblazoned with the sigil of the Ultramarines. Bolters rise, orders are barked. Sonic's grin fades, replaced by curiosity and the faintest spark of challenge. The Warhammer 40K universe doesn't forgive intruders. The laws of physics don't apply here, and neither does mercy. As Sonic surveys the barren world around him, he realizes this isn't just another adventure. This is a war between gods, machines, and madness itself. And somehow, he's landed right in the middle of it. Who summoned him here? Was it the Chaos Gods, the Emperor himself? Or is this another test of fate, one that will pit the fastest thing alive against the slow, crushing inevitability of the 41st Millennium? Whatever the answer, one thing's certain. Sonic's about to discover that in this universe, speed alone won't save you. The air was ash. The ground beneath Sonic's sneakers cracked like ancient bone. Behind him, the rift that had spit him into this nightmare sky shivered once more before folding in on itself with a scream only the warp could make. The light vanished, leaving the cobalt hedgehog alone in the dusk of a dying world. For a heartbeat, silence. Then, clack, bolter safeties. 6 armored giants advanced in perfect formation, blue armor catching what little light the dying sun offered. Their eyes, lenses of pure discipline, locked on him. Sonic tilted his head. Hey, big guys, you don't look like Eggman's bots. No reply, only the click of a targeting rune. The tallest stepped forward, his voice a cathedral bell beneath a helmet of gold trim. Xeno's entity. Identify yourself before judgment is rendered. Sonic blinked. Name's Sonic. Sonic the Hedgehog. You, guys do birthdays. The Marines did not smile. They never did. Another spoke, quieter, analytical. No known datum match in Imperial archives. Warp signature unstable. Recommend extermination before contamination spreads. Sonic felt a chill for the first time in years. They're serious, he thought. Whoa, extermination, that's harsh. I just got here. The leader, brother, Captain Darnath, raised a hand. Hold, there is something unnatural in him. The warp whispers, yet recoils. He took a single step closer. How did you breach the Immaterium, creature? Sonic frowned. Long story. Chaos Emeralds, wrong portal, big boom, ended up here. I didn't mean to crash your space party. The word chaos hung in the air like a curse. Bolters lifted again. He serves them, hissed one Marine. He speaks their name. Sonic raised both hands. Easy, not that kind of chaos. Mine's shiny, sparkly, and mostly harmless. Well, unless you're Dr. Eggman. Before any Marine could answer, the ground trembled. A low hum rolled through the wasteland like a heartbeat made of metal. From the horizon rose shapes half-formed, twisted mockeries of machines crawling from the dust. Sonic squinted. Great monsters, always monsters. The Ultramarines formed a line, demonic incursion. Darnath growled. By the Emperor, they breach reality itself. Sonic's grin returned. Finally, something I understand, bad guys. He vanished in a streak of blue. What followed shouldn't have been possible. The demons lunged and disintegrated mid-charge as Sonic tore through them faster than their corrupt flesh could react. Sparks and warp, fire scattered in his wake, each impact sounding like thunder trapped in a bottle. The Marines hesitated only a second before joining the assault, their bolters roaring sanctified death. Within moments, silence returned. Sonic skidded to a halt beside Darnath, not a scratch on him. So we cool now. The captain's eyes flickered behind his visor. For the first time, doubt. You are not of the warp, he admitted, and yet you wield its energy with impossible control. Sonic shrugged. Guess I'm just built different. They would have spoken more, but the warp never sleeps. Above them, the rift pulsed again, forming an eye of swirling crimson. Inside it, a voice rolled across the stars. The speed of change has entered our realm, bring him to me. Darnath's armor runes flared. Tease, inch, he hissed, naming the changer of ways. Sonic glanced up. Who's the creepy echo guy? The god of chaos most dangerous to the mind, Darnath said. And now he knows you exist. Sonic folded his arms. Figures. I just wanted to find my friends, maybe a chilly dog, not start a cosmic war. You are in one, Darnath said grimly. And the Imperium will decide whether you are its weapon or its curse. The Ultramarines escorted Sonic toward their fortress. Bastion, a monolith of stone and faith jutting from the planet's crust. Every step echoed with suspicion and awe. Servitors watched him. Priests whispered prayers. Somewhere deep inside, cogitators analyzed the energy readings of his Chaos Emerald, deeming it a paradox. In his cell chamber that night, Sonic stared at the flickering rune. Light above. Green Hill never had this problem, he muttered. Tails would have figured this portal mess out in 5 minutes. He closed his eyes, and in the dark, the emerald glowed faintly. Whispers filled the room, silky and persuasive. You could outrun the warp itself if only you let it in. Sonic's jaw tightened. Nice try, voice. Thing, been there, done that. Yet beneath his defiance, something stirred. The warp knew curiosity when it saw it. Far beyond the fortress, within the rift, Tzinch smiled. 1,000 beaks curling into impossible geometry. Let him run, the god whispered. Every path leads to me. The next dawn would bring interrogation, prophecy, and betrayal. For now, the fastest being alive sat in a universe where speed meant nothing, and destiny moved slower than fear. Questions. Always questions. That was all Sonic had heard since dawn. Inside the fortress, bastion of the Ultramarines, the chamber walls pulsed faintly with holy circuitry and incense smoke. Servo skulls hovered like ghostly lanterns, their lenses blinking as they recorded every twitch of the blue stranger's face. Sonic sat on a slab of adamantine, feet dangling, the golden chaos emerald cradled in his gloved palm. Its hum was steady, like a heartbeat that refused to bow to the oppressive silence of the Imperium. Across from him stood Inquisitor Kale Varen, robed in crimson and black. His voice was the grind of stone. You claim no allegiance to chaos, yet the warp sings through you. Explain. Sonic tapped his foot. I already told you, Chief Warp. Singing isn't my jam. I just run fast, really fast, The emeralds power me. Back home that's normal. Nothing about this is normal. Kale turned to the hololith projector. It shimmered with data. Spikes of energy identical to demonic incursion signatures. Your emeralds bend reality. The Mechanicus believes they are shards of pure potential. Perhaps weapons forged before mankind crawled from Terra's dust. Sonic raised an eyebrow. Sounds fancy. Maybe I should start charging rent. The Inquisitor ignored him. Captain Darnath reports you destroyed demons with velocity alone. Explain that. Sonic smirked. Guess evil can't keep up. Kale's expression didn't change. You jest, but the Emperor's light flickers because of forces like this. Do you understand what it means to draw the gaze of a chaos god? Sonic paused. For the first time since he'd landed in this iron-coated nightmare, the weight of the words hit him. Yeah, he said quietly. It means I need to run faster. The psychic vision interrogation ended with silence, but as Kale turned away, the chamber lights dimmed. The emerald flared, and reality folded. Sonic was no longer in the cell. He stood upon a bridge of gold and starlight, endless armies kneeling below a distant throne of blinding fire. A voice, not sound, but certainty filled his mind. Traveler between worlds, the warp trembles at your motion. Sonic shaded his eyes. You the local welcoming committee. I am the echo of humanity's last hope. The Emperor endures. His sight reaches through millennia and now to you. The vision solidified. Before him towered a figure of radiant decay. Half god, half corpse. Sonic felt his knees weaken, though he'd never bowed to anyone. You carry a spark alien to this galaxy. A power untainted, yet perilous. If chaos claims it, reality itself fractures. Sonic swallowed. Then you want me to stop them. Run, Hedgehog. Run not away, but toward destiny. A world named Cadia Secundus burns. There lies the key to the rift that dragged you here. The light collapsed. Sonic hit the floor of his chamber, heart hammering. The emerald's glow faded to embers. Inquisitor Kale stared. He had seen nothing, yet the room smelled of ozone and sanctity. What happened? He demanded. Sonic looked up, grin returning, though his eyes still shimmered with awe. I think your Emperor just gave me directions. The reluctant alliance hours later, the Bastion's War Council assembled. Marines, priests, and the Inquisitor debated whether to execute or enlist him. Darnath spoke first. He is not demon, he is weapon. The Emperor himself may guide his path. Kale's eyes narrowed. Ortiz, each guides yours. The argument raged until alarms shrieked warp breach detected on the perimeter. Crimson light bathed the chamber. Demons poured from new fissures, shrieking the name of their master. Darnath turned to Sonic. You wished for action, Xenos. Prove your loyalty. Sonic cracked his knuckles. Finally, something I do understand. They burst into the open. The sky churned violet. The fortress walls shook. Sonic darted through corridors, a blur of electric blue. Every time he struck, the world seemed to ripple, the warp itself recoiling. Marines followed in awe, bolters roaring hymns of vengeance. At the rift's heart stood a monstrous figure of feathers and flame, a lord of change. Its laughter twisted the air, speed, color, sound fragments of unreality. You belong to us. Sonic met its gaze. Sorry, bird, brain, I belong to freedom. He launched forward, energy spiraling from his body. The Chaos Emerald flared, absorbing stray war light until it burned white. The impact tore the creature apart, scattering motes of corruption across the wind. When the dust settled, even the Inquisitor bowed his head, not in reverence to Sonic, but in stunned silence. Darnath approached, gauntlet on Sonic's shoulder. Perhaps the Emperor truly sent you. Sonic grinned. Let's not get all mushy about it. You said Cadia Secundus, right? Then that's where we're going. Kale studied him one last time. If you betray us, Hedgehog, the whole Imperium will hunt you. Sonic winked. Guess I'll have to stay ahead of them, huh? That night, as thunder rolled and the warp's scars healed briefly, the fastest thing alive looked to the stars. Somewhere out there, beyond the madness and machinery, a path waited. One that would decide not just his fate, but the balance between speed and eternity. And for the first time since arriving, Sonic whispered a promise to himself. No matter the universe, I don't stop running. The void between worlds is a place of silence, yet it is never empty. Sonic could feel it. Though his legs itched to run, the corridors of the Ultramarine's strike cruiser felt like a cage of iron and faith. The ship hummed with the prayers of 1,000 tech, priests, and servo. Skulls swarmed overhead, whispering calculations and cautions. Darnath walked beside him, ceramite boots clanging against the deck. You move differently than any Xenos we have catalogued, he said. Not just your speed, it is instinct, precision almost prescient. Sonic stretched. Yeah, that's kind of my thing. Gotta move fast, gotta think faster. Kale Varen followed behind, cloak sweeping like dark smoke. His eyes never left Sonic. Prescient, yes. Dangerous, yes. And the warp stirs because of you. Every step you take leaves a trace in the immaterium. Tease each knows where you go before you even get there. Sonic smirked. Sounds like someone needs a chilly dog break. The Inquisitor's jaw tightened. This is not a joke. You are being tested. One misstep, and the Imperium, or what remains of it, will not forgive. The ship shuddered violently. Alarm klaxons rang. Sonic blinked, already, that fast. A projection sprang to life on the deck. A holo map of Cadia Secundus, scarred with rifts that pulsed like living wounds. The target, Darnath said, is the largest breach. Intelligence suggests a tease. Each cult has taken root inside the fortress ruins below. They are attempting to weaponize the warp. Sonic tilted his head. And let me guess, speed isn't enough to stop them. Speed alone will not, Kale said grimly. But combined with strategy, force, and the Emperor's light. Perhaps. Sonic flexed his hands, eyes narrowing. Strategy, huh? Guess I'll have to learn the long way. Arrival on Cadia Secundus, the drop. Ship shook as it pierced the upper atmosphere. Sonic held tight, blue quills bristling as the world beneath him revealed a landscape of ruin. Shattered spires, cratered plains, and a sky roiling with warp storms. This planet, he muttered, feels like someone hit it with a giant hammer and then left it to stew. Darnath gave a grim nod. Cadia Secundus was once a bastion of the Imperium, a planet of discipline and fortitude. Now it is a battlefield suspended between reality and chaos. The landing was rough. Sonic skidded across the scarred surface, leaving fur-lined tracks across ash and dust. Heh, at least I get to stretch my legs. Kale whispered, do not underestimate what waits below. The cultists of Tease, each are no mere mortals. They bend flesh and mind alike. One wrong move and the warp will consume this entire sector. Sonic smirked. Warp, shamarp. They're just going to have to try harder than that. The fortress ruins loomed ahead, a massive citadel of jagged stone and dark metal. Sigils of chaos glowed faintly along the walls. Sonic felt the energy from his emerald flare subtly, as if it resonated with the rift bleeding into the fortress. They know you are here, he thought, and they're waiting. The first encounter, they had barely crossed the threshold when the cult revealed itself. A flock of warped figures emerged from the shadows, limbs twisted and eyes glowing with unnatural light. Their leader, a towering figure clad in crimson and gold feathers, beak glinting like sharpened steel, extended a clawed hand. "Blue spark of speed, you are mine." The figure screeched. Sonic's eyes widened. Lord of Change again. Darnath raised his power sword. Marines, engage. Sonic darted forward, quills and emerald crackling. He became a streak of cobalt lightning, weaving between bolter fire and warps, bond claws. Each strike tore apart the cultist's corrupted flesh, but the Lord of Change watched with patience, as though playing a game of cosmic chess. Kale chanted prayers, the air around him shimmering with psychic wards. Darnath swung his blade, cutting through a demon with holy fury. Yet Sonic's speed was unmatched. He struck with precision that machines could not replicate, ripping the cultists apart before their spells could mature. But the Lord of Change was no ordinary foe. Each time Sonic struck, the creature warped reality around itself, creating illusions of multiple Sonic clones, each as fast and lethal as the original. Sonic skidded, dodged, and flipped through the illusions, realizing that raw speed was not enough. He had to outthink the creature. "All right, Feather, Face," Sonic muttered. "Let's see if I can do more than just run." He tapped the emerald, letting it flare to its maximum intensity. The clones wavered, then shattered like glass under pressure. Sonic zipped forward, striking the Lord of Change directly. Warp energy screamed and recoiled. The creature staggered, but it was far from finished. Kale's voice cut through the chaos. "Sonic, the breach. It is feeding its strength. You must reach the source." Sonic nodded, running through corridors, rubble flying, warp energy snapping around him like lightning. He was not just moving fast. He was moving with purpose. Every quill, every heartbeat, every fiber of his being became a weapon and a beacon. The fortress seemed alive, resisting him. Yet the emerald pulsed in resonance, guiding him toward the core of the rift. "Cadia Secundus." Sonic muttered to himself, "You may be big, scary, and full of weird bird people, but you're about to see what speed can really do." Sonic's sneakers pounded against stone and ash, each step a blur, leaving streaks of cobalt light behind him. The fortress ruins of Cadia Secundus twisted around him, corridors folding into impossible angles, as though the very walls themselves were alive with the mutating will of Inch. The air crackled with psychic tension, making his quills vibrate. Behind him, the Ultramarines formed a protective wedge, bolters roaring in unison, suppressing warps, bond cultists that swarmed like gnats around a fire. The Inquisitor, Kale Varen, muttered prayers that left his lips glowing faint blue, warding off psychic attacks aimed at Sonic. "Keep moving," the emerald pulsed. "The source waits." Sonic's grin was sharp, determined. "You got it, Shiny." The deeper they descended into the fortress, the more reality seemed to bend. Corridors twisted into impossible loops. Stairways rose and fell into nothingness, and phantom echoes of the past whispered in every shadow. Sonic felt the warp itself tugging at him, teasing, beckoning, threatening. "This is a little different from Green Hill," Sonic muttered. Kale's eyes narrowed. "It is no place for jest. The closer you get, the more tease. Inch's will attempts to infiltrate your mind. He studies you, he tempts you. Every step could be a trap." Sonic flexed his hands, tightening around the emerald. "I've faced plenty of weird stuff before. This is just a bigger playground." The first trap, they entered a grand hall, once a cathedral of Cadia Secundus, now broken and stained with warp corruption. At its center, a pool of swirling crimson energy pulsated, feeding the rift that carved the sky above. Sonic stopped. "Whoa, that's not good." From the pool emerged spectral images of Sonic himself, multiple copies, each twisted into grotesque versions, their quills jagged, eyes glowing red. They mimicked his every move, mirror tricks. Darnath growled, power sword raised. The creature anticipates your speed. Sonic tapped the emerald, blue light flaring, and dashed forward. The duplicates struck, but Sonic was faster, slicing through illusions with precise strikes. Still, the rift pulsed, feeding the Lord of Change above with energy from each broken illusion. Kale's voice rang through the hall. You must reach the source. The rift's core is unstable. Every second wasted strengthens it and him. Sonic nodded, grit in his teeth. Got it, time to get serious. Confrontation with the Lord of Change, the chamber opened into a vast atrium, walls spiraling into impossible height. There, perched atop a jagged spire of obsidian and warped metal, was the Lord of Change, wings spread wide, feathers glinting like molten gold, eyes burning with intelligence and malice. Ah, little blue spark, it hissed, you run through my playground as though it were a game, but all paths lead to me, all choices bend to my will. Sonic skidded to a stop, dust flying. Not today, feather, face, you've been messing with my friends and reality itself. That ends now. The Lord of Change laughed, a sound like shards of glass grinding against steel. Reality bent and shimmered. Multiple paths appeared, illusions of Sonic running in every direction, each faster than thought. Sonic ducked and weaved, dodging psychic blasts and feathered strikes. Then he remembered Kale's words, move with purpose, not just speed. Sonic focused. The emerald flared bright, harmonizing with the warp energy, creating a protective bubble that cut through illusion and psychic attack alike. He zipped straight at the spire, unrelenting. The Lord of Change shrieked, impossible, none can challenge the design of the Changer of Ways. Sonic landed, quills bristling. I'm not part of your design, I'm me. He unleashed the full energy of the emerald, channeling every ounce of his speed, precision, and instinct. The burst tore through the spire, shattering the illusions and breaking the rift's flow temporarily. The Lord of Change staggered, wings faltering. Darnath and the Ultramarines pressed forward, bolters tearing through lesser cultists as Kale reinforced Sonic's shield with psychic wards. The revelation in the silence that followed, Sonic stared into the fissure at the heart of the fortress. Within the warp, bleeding core, he saw it, a strange crystalline structure shimmering with chaotic energy, pulsating with the same frequency as his emerald. Kale's voice was tense. That is the anchor, the source of the rift. If it is destroyed, the breach will collapse. If corrupted, each will gain a foothold in this sector, perhaps the entire quadrant. Sonic clenched his fists. Looks like it's my kind of problem. The emerald hummed, almost alive, guiding him closer. He realized something. This wasn't just a fight of speed against chaos. It was a test of will, courage, and control. His manipulations were many, but Sonic's instinct, the pure, unyielding drive to protect, was stronger. Ready? Darnath asked. Sonic nodded. Ready. Sonic stood at the edge of the rift's core, the crystalline structure pulsating with light that was both mesmerizing and dangerous. It was like nothing he had ever seen, even Green Hill, Eggman's machines, or any warp energy could not compare to the living pulse of raw chaos contained in that alien crystal. It hummed in time with the emerald, as though recognizing him, challenging him. Darnath tightened his grip on his power sword. This is where the battle is decided. One wrong step and the entire sector will be lost to Kale Varan's voice was barely above a whisper. Sonic, the rift will tempt you. It will show you everything you desire and fear, bending reality to its will. Do not give in. Sonic smirked. Temptation, fear, I've been through worse. Let's dance. The trap of illusions. No sooner had Sonic stepped forward than the rift erupted in a storm of spectral light. Shadows of his friends and allies appeared. Tails, Knuckles, even Amy, all calling to him, trapped in cages of ethereal flame. "Stop! Help me!" they cried. Sonic skidded to a halt. "Wait, what? Feed your doubts, feed your fears," whispered a voice deep inside his mind. "Abandon your allies, join me. You can be free of this universe's rules." He shook his head, refusing to give in. Not gonna happen. The Lord of Change materialized once more, wings spanning impossibly wide, feathers glowing like molten metal. "Speed alone will not save you, spark of life. Reality is mine to shape." Sonic crouched, feeling the emerald's power surge through him. "Then it's time for me to run reality." With a burst of energy, Sonic dashed. This was no ordinary run. He bent the fabric of the rift, dodging illusions, weaving between shards of warped reality, striking phantom enemies with precision that tore the images apart. Each strike weakened the hold of the rift, each step destabilizing the Lord of Change's manipulations. Darnath and the Ultramarines advanced beside him, bolters roaring, psychic wards protecting the fragile reality around them. Kale chanted prayers, focusing all his energy on reinforcing Sonic's connection to the Emerald. The rift convulsed, trying to throw Sonic into infinite loops of space and time, but he pressed forward, driven by the single thought: protect. Move, survive. The core revealed at last. Sonic reached the crystalline heart. It was alive, pulsing with chaotic energy that threatened to consume everything. Sonic felt a strange resonance between the Emerald and the Rift, a connection that allowed him to glimpse Inch's plan. The God of Change sought to merge the Emerald with the Rift, twisting Sonic's speed into a weapon of universal destabilization. "I am inevitable." The Lord of Change's voice echoed through the chamber. Sonic's eyes narrowed. "Not if I get there first." Channeling every ounce of speed and energy, Sonic struck the core. Light exploded outward, shards of crystal tearing from the heart of the rift. The Lord of Change screeched in fury, wings folding, feathers scattering like embers. The core cracked, energy spilling outward in a wave that threatened to throw everyone into the warp. Sonic's quills glowed blue and white, his body vibrating in resonance with the Emerald. The rift fought back, twisting the walls, warping the floor, conjuring phantoms of Sonic himself, but he ignored them all. Step by step, he destabilized the rift's anchor, channeling the Emerald's raw energy into the fractured crystal. The turning point, the core splintered, releasing a shockwave that pushed the cultists, demons, and even the Lord of Change backward. Sonic skidded, energy crackling around him, eyes locked on the weakening creature. The rift trembled, threatening to collapse entirely. Kale's voice shouted over the chaos. "Now, Sonic, strike decisively." With a final surge, Sonic dove into the core itself, Emerald blazing like a miniature sun. Light erupted, tearing the warp anchor apart, sending a pulse of pure energy across the fortress. The Lord of Change screeched, dissolving into motes of color and flame, while the rift began to close, reality knitting itself together once more. Sonic landed on solid stone, panting, quills singed but glowing faintly. Around him, the Ultramarines secured the remaining cultists, and Kale Varan stood, awe etched in every line of his face. Darnath approached, placing a gauntleted hand on Sonic's shoulder. "You did it. The rift is sealed. Cadia Secundus survives, thanks to you." Sonic smirked, wiping sweat from his brow. "Yeah, well, somebody had to go fast enough to fix your mess." Kale's gaze lingered on the Emerald. "The power you wield, it is unprecedented. Inch himself underestimated it. You may be the key to keeping the balance of the warp or destroying it." Sonic looked up at the scarred sky, the remnants of the rift slowly fading. Let's hope he learned his lesson, and if not, well, I've still got my legs. The fortress of Cadia Secundus lay in ruins, but the battle was far from over. Sonic stood atop a shattered spire, wind whipping his quills, scanning the horizon. The sky remained streaked with residual warp energy, faint crimson veins pulsing across the clouds. The rift had collapsed, but the remnants of Inch's cult lingered, lurking in shadows, regrouping to strike again. Darnath surveyed the battlefield, armor pitted with soot and energy scars. We have stabilized the rift, but intelligence reports indicate multiple cells of cultists remain in hidden tunnels and subterranean vaults. Inch's hand is deeper than we anticipated. Sonic scratched the back of his head. You mean they're hiding, waiting for me to slow down? Kale Varan's eyes narrowed behind his hood. Not just waiting, Hedgehog. They are preparing. Inch is a patient manipulator. The collapse of the rift above is but a temporary setback. He will strike again, and when he does, he will target you. Sonic clenched his fists. Then I guess we need to find them before they find us. Lead the way. Into the subterranean labyrinth, the team descended into the labyrinth beneath the ruined fortress. Corridors twisting in unnatural angles, the air thick with psychic residue. Every step echoed with whispers, muted voices, taunting and promising power, fortune, and escape from fate. Sonic could feel it tugging at his mind, like invisible strings attempting to bend him to Inch's will. Darnath and his Ultramarines held formation, bolters ready, while Kale lit the path with psychic wards that glowed like blue fire, neutralizing the worst of the warp's influence. Sonic, despite the weight of his speed, moved with cautious precision, feeling the resonance of his emerald reacting to the chaotic energy surrounding them. The core may be destroyed, but the seeds remain, the emerald pulsed. You must uncover the root. Sonic's grin was tight. Looks like I'm running detective now. Cool. As they pushed deeper, they came upon a massive chamber carved directly into the bedrock. Walls etched with glowing sigils that shifted and morphed in impossible geometries. At its center was a massive obelisk, black as void and pulsating with the lingering energy of the warp. Around it, cultists twisted and warped. Half flesh and half flame chanted in unison. One of them noticed Sonic. The spark returns, the herald of speed. Sonic smirked. You mean me? Yeah, that's right. Let's keep it that way. Confrontation in the depths, the cultists surged forward, and the Ultramarines opened fire. Bolter rounds tore through the air, striking flesh and smoke alike. Sonic zipped through the battlefield, faster than the eye could follow, dismantling enemy ranks with calculated strikes. But the obelisk reacted. From its core, waves of energy erupted, conjuring illusions of Sonic's worst fears, tails trapped, knuckles impaled, the fortress collapsing on him. Sonic skidded, quills glowing blue. Not gonna fall for your mind games, feather. Brain, he shouted. The emerald pulsed, shielding him from the psychic assault. Kale muttered a prayer, sending a surge of protective energy towards Sonic. Focus on the obelisk, Hedgehog. Destroy it, or the warp will reclaim this entire level. With a burst of speed, Sonic ran up the wall, spiraling around the obelisk like a living blur. He struck it directly with the emerald, sending a shockwave of pure energy ripping across the chamber. The cultists screamed, their forms dissolving into motes of flame and shadow. The obelisk cracked, but as Sonic landed, the energy coalesced into a new form. A massive, warped figure, taller than any space marine, composed of shifting shadows and molten metal. Its eyes glowed like stars. You cannot run from destiny, spark of life. It hissed, all paths lead to me. Sonic gritted his teeth. Good thing I'm the fastest thing alive. A test of will, the shadow construct lunged, warping the chamber around it. Sonic dashed, dodging blasts of warp energy, using every ounce of speed and agility to stay ahead. The emerald flared, creating afterimages that struck at the creature, while Sonic itself remained untouchable. Darnath and the Ultramarines provided covering fire, but the construct was adaptive, bending the laws of physics and warp alike. Sonic realized that raw speed alone wasn't enough. He had to anticipate, predict, and react faster than the construct could even think. "You can do this," the emerald pulsed. "The path is yours." Sonic focused, eyes narrowing. Using a combination of acceleration and cunning, he created a loop around the construct, striking its core with precise bursts of emerald energy. Each hit destabilized its form, fragments of shadow and metal scattering into nothingness. The construct faltered, giving Sonic the opening he needed. He surged forward, faster than ever, channeling the full resonance of the emerald into a single, decisive strike. The shadow construct screamed as it shattered, dissolving into the warp from which it came. Silence fell. The chamber was empty, the obelisk reduced to rubble, and the echoes of chaos dissipating. Sonic exhaled, quills quivering. Phew, that was intense. Darnath lowered his sword. "You have done more than run, Hedgehog. You have destroyed what even seasoned warriors could not. The cult is fractured, for now." Kale stepped forward, eyes glinting. "Yet, this is only the beginning. T's Inch's reach extends beyond Cadia Secundus. He will not stop until the emerald. And you are his." Sonic looked at the glowing gem in his hand. "Then, I guess it's time to go faster than ever." The skies above Cadia Secundus had darkened to a bruised violet, streaked with crimson lightning that split the clouds like jagged scars. Sonic stood at the top of a shattered spire, quills bristling, eyes scanning the horizon. The subterranean cult had been defeated, the obelisk destroyed, but the rift's collapse had only angered the warp further. Darnath's voice cut through the wind. "Reports indicate multiple warp distortions are forming in orbit. This is not a simple cult. T's Inch has unleashed a full-scale assault. You must be prepared." Sonic cracked his knuckles. "Full scale sounds like my kind of race." Kale Varan, hood trailing, shook his head. "This is no race. These are monsters born of the warp itself. They bend reality and corrupt everything they touch. You will not outrun them. You must confront them." Sonic nodded. "Good. Let's make this fun." First contact from the swirling clouds above descended shapes, twisted by the warp. Massive winged monstrosities, demons of every conceivable form, their eyes glowing like molten metal. Sonic's quills raised. The emerald pulsed in resonance with the rift, sending waves of energy outward. Darnath's squad of Ultramarines formed a protective perimeter, bolters blazing. Kale unleashed psychic wards that shimmered like blades of light, pushing back the first surge of demons. Sonic zipped across the battlefield, faster than the eye could follow, striking at the weakest points of the warp creatures with precision. "They anticipate speed," the emerald pulsed, warning him. "Yet their pattern can be broken." Sonic grinned. "Pattern? Breaking, huh? That's what I do best." He created a blur of motion, weaving between bolter fire and warp energy, leaving afterimages that confused the demons. Each strike destabilized their forms, sending fragments of corrupted flesh and energy scattering. The heart of the assault suddenly, a massive rift opened above the battlefield. From it descended a greater demon, towering and skeletal, wings spreading like the shadows of a ruined cathedral. Its eyes burned with the hunger of the warp itself. "Blue spark, you cannot outrun destiny," it roared. Sonic skidded to a halt. "I'm not running, I'm finishing this." The demon struck, and the ground cracked under the force. Sonic dodged, rolling and launching himself off jagged debris, the emerald flaring white, hot. Bolters thundered around him, Marines holding the line with grim determination. But the demon's power was immense. Reality itself seemed to bend around it, creating illusions and traps that slowed Sonic's movements. He realized that raw speed alone would not be enough. Then use purpose, the emerald pulsed, speed with intent. Sonic's eyes narrowed. Intent, got it. He charged with precision, striking weak points revealed by the afterimages of his own motion. Each strike destabilized the demon, forcing it to retreat, though its shadowed presence continued to warp the battlefield. Turning the tide, Darnath bellowed an order. Marines, focus fire. Kale, lend your wards to him, now. Kale extended his hands, sending arcs of psychic energy toward Sonic, reinforcing his connection to the emerald. Sonic's quills glowed blue, white, leaving trails that disrupted the demon's perception of reality. With a burst of speed and energy, Sonic struck the heart of the demon, a concentrated hit amplified by the emerald's resonance. The creature shrieked, reeling, its form destabilizing. Fragments of warp energy scattered like embers, and the sky above began to clear slightly as the rift pulsed in retreat. Sonic skidded to a stop beside Darnath, panting, "Phew, that's what I call a war, mup." Kale's eyes gleamed. "You are more than a spark of speed. You are a force against the warp itself." Yet this was but one of many strikes. Tease inch, his designs are vast. He will not relent. Sonic stared at the sky, quills glowing faintly. Then I guess I have to go faster and smarter. The next phase, the battle had been won, but the war was far from over. The remnants of the cult and the warp assault regrouped, retreating into hidden rifts and corners of the galaxy. Sonic and the Ultramarines knew that the next confrontation would be even deadlier. "Tease, inch watches," the Emerald whispered. "Every move you make, he adapts. Every path is a challenge." Sonic clenched his fists, determination burning brighter than any warp flame. "Then let him adapt. I'll just run faster than he can think." The sky slowly cleared, the crimson veins of the rift fading for now. Sonic looked over the battlefield, seeing Ultramarines tending to the wounded and Kale scanning for residual warp energy. One thing was clear: the war against Tease, Inch, and the forces of the warp had only begun. And Sonic, the fastest thing alive, was ready for every challenge the grim darkness of the 41st Millennium could throw at him. The remnants of Cadia Secundus lay smoldering, smoke curling into the violet sky, but Sonic's mind was already racing ahead. Every step he took sent vibrations through the fractured terrain, every pulse of the emerald connecting him to the warp in ways he had only begun to understand. Tease, Inch had been patient, watching, testing, but Sonic was no longer just a blur of blue speed. He was the spearhead of resistance against a god. Darnath's voice broke through the haze. "The cult is fractured, yes, but the rift's anchor was only a node. There are more. Tease, Inch will consolidate his power elsewhere, perhaps even deeper in the sector." Sonic's grin was tight, determined. "Then we follow him. No stopping now." Kale Varen's expression was grim. "This is not a pursuit. It is a hunt, and the quarry is more cunning than you can imagine." Into the warp, touched citadel guided by psychic readings and fragments of intelligence, Sonic and the Ultramarines navigated a derelict citadel orbiting a dead star. The structure was a fusion of machine and warpen, fused stone, impossible architecture bending the laws of physics, corridors looping back on themselves, and floors appearing to float in midair. Sonic's speed became their greatest asset, allowing him to scout ahead, detect traps, and dismantle warp constructs before they could react. The path converges, the emerald pulsed, the architect waits. At the citadel's heart, the source of the warp energy revealed itself. A massive chamber, walls etched with fractal runes that shimmered and moved. In the center floated a crystal throne, occupied by a figure whose form shifted constantly, metallic feathers, molten wings, and a shape that defied mortal comprehension. The Lord of Change, Ts. Inch's avatar, awaited. "You have survived much, blue spark," it said, voice layered with countless echoes. "Faster than thought, yet you are still bound by destiny. All your speed will lead you here to me." Sonic's eyes narrowed, quills bristling. "And I don't care about destiny. I make my own path." The ultimate confrontation, the chamber erupted into chaos. Warp energy spiraled outward, threatening to collapse the citadel into nothingness. Sonic darted, leaving streaks of light as the Lord of Change struck with impossible precision. Each blow bent reality. Floors became ceilings, walls melted, and illusions sprang to life, forcing Sonic to rely on instinct, not just speed. Darnath and his Ultramarines engaged lesser constructs, bolters thundering, psychic wards protecting their allies. Kale chanted furiously, reinforcing Sonic's connection to the Emerald, stabilizing the surrounding reality. Sonic realized that raw velocity alone could not defeat this enemy. The Lord of Change was adapting faster than he could move. He needed a new approach, precision, timing, and the full potential of the Emerald. "Trust the path," the Emerald pulsed. "Trust yourself." Sonic's grin returned. "All right, let's see who can outrun who." He dashed in a series of impossibly precise maneuvers, striking weak points in the Lord of Change's form while avoiding devastating psychic attacks. Each hit sent shards of warp energy exploding outward, destabilizing the Avatar's hold on reality. Revealing Ts. Inch's master plan as Sonic moved, fragments of the Lord of Change's consciousness reached out to him, whispering visions of countless timelines. In one, Sonic was defeated, his speed harnessed to fracture the galaxy. In another, he was corrupted, a herald of change for the Chaos Gods. Sonic's mind flashed with the truth. The Emerald was not just a source of speed. It resonated with the very fabric of the warp. Ts. Inch sought to absorb it, bend Sonic's unique connection to the warp, and rewrite reality itself. All paths converge. The Lord of Change hissed, "Submit, and become the instrument of change." Sonic shook his head, determination blazing. "Not a chance. You mess with my friends, my universe, or my speed, and I don't lose." With a final burst of speed, he channeled the Emerald's energy into a concentrated strike, striking the heart of the Lord of Change's form. The crystal throne shattered, light cascading in waves, and the warp energy spiraled violently, as if reality itself was fighting to correct the imbalance. Darnath shouted, bolter fire echoing through the chamber. Kale reinforced Sonic's shield, chanting prayers that resonated with the Emerald. Together, they became a triad of mortal and immortal forces, pushing back the Architect of Change. The Lord of Change screamed, form twisting in impossible angles, reality warping around it, until Sonic's final strike pierced through the heart of the Avatar, scattering it into motes of light, dissolving the rift's influence and leaving the chamber in stunned silence. Aftermath, Sonic stood amidst the shattered fragments, quills singed but glowing faintly. Reality, fragile yet intact, settled around him. Darnath lowered his blade, awe and relief etched on his face. "You did it," he said simply. "The Architect is defeated. Ts. Inch's hold on this sector is broken, for now." Kale approached, voice quiet but firm. "You are more than a mere spark. You are a force that can challenge the warp itself. But heed this, Hedgehog. Tzeentch's eyes are everywhere. This victory may only be temporary. Sonic clenched his fists, looking at the shattered throne and the fading fragments of warp energy. Then I'll just keep running, faster, smarter, and never letting him catch up. The emerald pulsed softly, as if agreeing with him. Sonic knew the war was far from over, but he also knew one thing: no matter the universe, no matter the enemy, he would always be ready. The battlefield of Cadia Secundus stretched before Sonic like a shattered chessboard. Smoke rose from broken spires, molten rock bubbled in cratered plains, and remnants of demonic energy flickered like dying stars. The sky above roiled with the last remnants of the warp, crimson lightning striking the ground, threatening to rip reality apart. Sonic stood at the forefront, quills bristling, emerald pulsing with raw power. Around him, the Ultramarines formed their battle line, weapons raised, bolters roaring in synchronization, and Kael Varen's psychic wards blazing, keeping the chaotic energy from collapsing. Fragile battlefield. This is the final path. The emerald pulsed. All converges here. Sonic's grin was sharp, focused. Time to finish this, and make sure nothing like that ever happens again. The warp's last assault from the remaining rifts above, Tzeentch unleashed his ultimate manifestation. A colossal warp, born storm, a swirling mass of eyes, claws, feathers, and flame. The storm's center was a warped reflection of Sonic himself, every quill sharper, every movement faster, every intention twisted into chaos. You cannot escape, spark of speed. The storm thundered. All paths are mine. Sonic's boots hit the ground, sending vibrations through the cratered earth. We'll see about that. He launched himself forward, moving faster than thought, weaving between the storm's claws and lightning. The emerald flared brighter than ever, sending shockwaves of pure energy that destabilized the warp storm, scattering fragments of corruption. Darnath's squad advanced, bolters tearing through the storm's tendrils. Kael reinforced Sonic's trajectory with psychic energy, shaping a path through the chaos. Yet the storm adapted, creating illusions and dead ends faster than any physical obstacle. Sonic realized he needed something more than speed. He needed precision, intuition, and absolute trust in the emerald. You are more than speed, the emerald pulsed. You are the force that bends the warp. Sonic gritted his teeth. All right, time to run the impossible. The final strike. Sonic darted through the storm, leaving afterimages that struck at the heart of the warp-born mass. He spun around pillars of jagged rock, zigzagged through warp lightning, and collided with the storm's core, a mirror image of himself, twisted and screaming. The emerald resonated violently, energy spilling outward, synchronizing Sonic's speed with the warp's unstable rhythm. Every step he took bent the storm back upon itself, unraveling the chaotic energy with sheer force of will and motion. I am faster than fate, Sonic shouted. With one final, impossibly rapid surge, Sonic struck the storm's heart, channeling the full power of the emerald into the core. Light exploded outward, a wave of pure energy that tore through the warp manifestation, shattering it into millions of motes that dissolved into nothingness. The rifts above collapsed, the crimson lightning vanished, and silence fell over the battlefield. Cadia Secundus, scarred and battered, was free, for now, from Tzeentch's grasp. Aftermath. Sonic skidded to a stop, quills singed, chest heaving. Darnath approached, gauntleted hand resting on his shoulder. You have done what none thought possible. You have turned the tide of the warp itself. Kael Varen nodded slowly, eyes glinting. Tzeentch may watch, but for now the galaxy has gained a hero in a form we never expected. A spark that can outrun destiny itself. Sonic looked at the emerald, glowing softly in his palm. Guess its true speed isn't just about running. It's about knowing when to move, where to strike, and never giving up. No matter what universe you're in. The Ultramarines regrouped, securing the area, and Kale whispered prayers over the residual warp energy. Sonic felt the weight of victory, and the understanding that the emerald's resonance could protect more than just himself. It could stabilize reality itself, at least for a time. The path is never ending, the emerald pulsed. But you will always run it. Sonic grinned, boots tapping against the broken stone. Then let's keep running faster than ever. And as the sun rose over the war-torn world, streaks of blue light flashed across the plains, the fastest being alive racing against fate, against the warp, and against the god of change himself, undaunted, unstoppable, and unbroken.